Today's hottest style trend is stacking bracelets, whether you wear one or stack a dozen. I'm here with Meredith Roddy, and we're going to make 3 different types of bracelets. These are some great projects, Meredith. Super easy to do.
Thanks, Katie. I hope so. Yeah, I think they'll be great for people to make.
All right, well, let's start with the first one. We're going to make a multi-strand design.
We're going to make a multi-strand illusion style design using beading wire and crimp beads.
Okay, so how do we get started?
All right, well, we get started by cutting about a 6-inch length of beading wire, and you're going to do the end by taking a size 2 crimp tube and using the crimping tool, standard crimping tool.
Okay, and does it matter what size beading wire you use?
It doesn't matter necessarily what size beading wire you use, but I like using a .024 beading wire.
Oh, okay, so pretty substantial.
Yeah, so then you can see it.
Yeah, you
because
get a lot
I think
of that metallic shine too.
Exactly, and the wire really stands out in this design. So here you can see I have crimped the end of the crimp tube onto the wire, and then you're going to go ahead and crimp a size 1 crimp tube to capture your bead on either side.
Okay, so the 2 is at the end. It's a little bit bigger, has more surface contact, helps hold on the clasp. That's how I'll remember it. And then size 1 is hold the beads in place.
Exactly. Okay. Because here you don't want the crimp tube to be the focal part of the design. You want the wire and the beads to really stand out on the design. So here I've gone ahead and crimped my first one on, and I just do that flat.
I like this, just squish the number ones, especially if they're not holding a clasp.
Yeah. Because that's all you need to do in the case of holding that bead in place. So now I'm going to go ahead and put that, size 1 crimp tube on the end of that wire.
Okay, and you're using silver, but you could use gold or other colors.
You could use gold, you could use champagne, you could use any of the matte colors or even a standard color of wire as well.
Okay.
And I'm just going to slide this down into place and use, like we said, just a regular standard plier to flatten it.
Okay.
Okay. And so here I have a piece that I've already done. And now what I'm going to do is slide the end into the end of a slide connector. So there are a couple of different kinds of slide connectors. There's one where you can add your own clasp, but then there are some that come with a clasp already attached. So if you want to add your own clasp, you could certainly make it yours. Or if you want to have the whole finding all in one, you can certainly get the one that has the clasp.
So more ways of customizing.
Exactly.
Now, how many strands did you make here?
This is 6 strands, but really you could make less or even more, depending on what size of the connector clasp that you're using, or your design, your interest. Yeah. If you want it to be a really, really substantial design, you can use smaller beads, you could use bigger beads.
Well, I love this way that you staggered the beads too, so they're not all bunched up in one place, but it doesn't look like you have to be really specific about measuring it out.
I took a little cup of beads that I had in my office from things from things I had found, and I put them all together and it actually worked.
It looks great.
So here what you're going to do is slide the crimp into the end of the finding, and then again use your chain nose pliers to very gently bend.
So you just fold your flap closed.
Yep, fold the flap closed, and a little trick is on a harder surface, you just want to push it down.
Perfect.
And it'll lock it right into place.
Nice, and then you can attach whatever clasp you want.
Attach whatever clasp you want, and of course you want to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side.
Okay.
And then you can see a couple of different examples of different bracelets that I've made.
Yeah, those are so pretty.
One where I used all the same bicone.
Yeah, the gold
beads.
One with the little bicones, that looks great. It's like a sprinkling.
A little sprinkling,
it's a totally different style.
And much smaller, so you can really see those little sparkles come through, and also it will pick up the sparkle of the wire.
Yeah, that looks really pretty together.
Then I made one using pearls, so it's a little bit of a different look. Pearls are very popular right now,
Well,
so
it's
everyone
always in
loves
style,
it.
yeah.
Yes, pearls are always in style. And then the last one I used, again, kind of a different smattering, but I kept my color palette more in the same range. And so that too gives it a little bit of a different
Yeah, you know,
look
this
to
would be
it.
a perfect project. I like your bead soup idea. And also any of these would look lovely with bridesmaids. This would make a great bridesmaid project too.
Definitely. And you could, I made bracelets, but of course you could do it as a necklace also. And I think that would be
Same
really,
technique.
really beautiful.
All right, well, let's take a look at the next one.
So to get started with this sparkly cuff bracelet with the flat memory wire, what you'll do is use, of course, always your memory wire shears to cut a length of flat memory wire. And we all know you don't want to cut the wire with anything else besides the memory wire shears, or else you'll ruin your nippers. So you could use one loop like I did here, or you could certainly do a multiple strand design, as many as you're in the mood for that day. So the way that I like to finish off my memory wire designs, whether it be with flat memory wire or regular memory wire, is with these these magnet tube clasps. And they're very, very powerful. You can see,
yeah,
how strong they are to go together. And the wonderful thing about these is if you turn a little loop in the end of your flat memory wire and attach one of these clasps, it is a perfect ending.
So it makes it all really smooth.
It makes it all really smooth. So let me show you really quickly how I do that.
Okay.
So the way that I attach this is I took my round nose pliers and you turn the loop back
So you're
about
making
halfway.
a tiny, tiny loop.
You're making a tiny, tiny loop. And this takes a little bit of finessing because this memory wire, because it is memory wire, is very, very tough. But that's what you want because you want it to hold its form.
Right.
It can be manipulated with tools. You just have to be patient with it. And then what you need to do is come in here with some flat nose or some chain nose or even bent chain nose pliers and
just squeeze that loop together,
squeeze
right?
the loop together, exactly. And then that will come back through on the clasp and hold it in place.
Okay. So that part's hidden inside the tube.
That part will be hidden inside the tube, yes.
And you could glue it if you wanted to, but it's not necessary at this
I
point.
don't think it would be necessary to glue it. You could glue other materials into these same tube clasps.
Okay.
But I wouldn't worry about the glue for the memory wire because it is such a strong material.
Okay, sounds good.
So to embellish the flat memory wire, there are a lot of really interesting different findings. And I'm going to show you a couple of those today.
Okay, sounds good.
So the first ones that I'm going to show you are the round cups and the square cups. And what you can do with these is set pointy back stones and flat back stones. So I like to do the pointy back stones in the square cups and the flat stones with the round cups. So let me show you how easy this is.
All right.
So here you have the cup, and you're just going to drop the flat stone in.
Well, this is a great way to make any custom colors too.
Absolutely. Mother's bracelets with all the different birthstones,
School
for
colors.
grandmothers, school color, team colors, colors to match your outfits, anything. So now I'm going to come in here with my chain nose pliers again and just bend one of those prongs down. Now you want to then go to the opposite side. So here you have the opposite side prong, and we're just going to go ahead and bend that one down also. And that really works to get that centered appropriately.
Perfect.
In the finding. Then I'm going to turn it 45 degrees and do this one as well.
So always opposite corners.
Always opposite corners. And that's how you're going to get a really nice centered stone in your finding. Okay, so now these guys will just slide nicely onto that flat memory wire.
Okay.
So you can do a design with all of these, or you could mix it up. And here I'll show you we have these great flat findings. And what they do, again, is slide onto the memory wire. And you can use all different kinds of flat backs. So I find in my bead stash that I have all of these really cool stones, but again, do I want to wire wrap them all? Do I want to use different techniques? This is a fast and easy way of getting them to be attached into a final project.
And making it totally custom. I love it.
Totally custom, which is one of my favorite things. So here, the way that I'm going to do that is using a two-part epoxy. And the thing about the two-part epoxy is you want to mix equal parts. And this particular one is perfect because the equal parts are already measured out.
So you just squeeze the whole tube?
So you squeeze the whole tube down.
So be ready to do some gluing.
Yes, you want to make sure that you have everything lined up because this stuff it sets up well, but it does set up fast. So we're going to go ahead and do both parts in a little container here, and you can use a piece of tin foil to do this on, a little glass jar. I like to recycle and reuse the packaging from some of the products that I use. And so you're just going to go ahead and mix this up and make sure it mixes up really, really well. And then you can even use that same toothpick or a piece of wire to go ahead and put a little bit, actually what I would do is put a little bit of glue right on the back of my stone.
Okay.
And then take see, the magnets stick to everything.
They sure do.
Take this stone and then just lie it, take the finding and lay it right on the back of that stone.
Okay.
And you want to let it set for, I usually, with all glue, 24 hours.
Right.
You can never be too safe. And then you can go ahead and string these all onto the flat memory wire. Okay. And here is a bracelet that I've already gone ahead and done. You can see I've set all of those stones, and it really does not take very long at all to make something that's totally customized.
That looks great.
And it's so sparkly.
Okay,
too.
now how would you finish the end on this one?
So the end on this one, what I would do is since I started with, oh, thank you so much. Since I started with the magnet, I have here my other magnet on the other side, just to make sure I have the right polarity, which is always something that you want to be careful about. And you can see I left a little bit of extra wire just to make sure that everything, that I had enough. You never want it to be too short.
Right.
Too long is no problem. So I'm going to come in here and just clip again with my memory wire shears and holding on to that end so it doesn't jump. Clip that off. And I'm going to come here with my round nose pliers and just round that end up. And with my chain nose pliers, bend it down very carefully. And I might have to come back and do that a couple of times just to make sure. And
so you
that
can
will
really
end
snug
up,
it inside.
Yep. And it will end up eventually snugging inside, so you have a great bracelet that is quick to make and easy to take on.
That looks
and
great.
off.
And you can, yeah. Let's take a look at the back of this one too, because on this one you can see where you've glued all of your findings on. So that's what it looks like on the inside. And then you have a different kind of ending here.
I do have a different kind of ending. We do have a traditional glue-in ending for the flat memory wire. There is a traditional ending for the flat memory wire bracelets, and this is it right here. You can also use your bail making pliers to turn up a ring, which is what I've done over on this one too.
Just to make a loop on there.
To make a loop on the end.
Right. Well, let's take a look at your finished ones, and I'll move this stuff out of your way. These are so pretty, and I love all the sparkle. You have an example there of some single strand with the round stone, and then you have one with the square stone too.
Yes, I really like also the triple bracelet. It did take a little bit longer to get all of those stones set, but I think that the final result really speaks for itself.
It's
There's
beautiful.
so much bling on that.
I love it.
And on that one, I finished it with a loop. And so you can see it's very easy to also customize the ends of your bracelet to, if you...
Yeah, you could add some charms or beaded dangles, right?
Absolutely, or
so
tassel.
Oh, a tassel would be fun too.
A tassel would definitely be fun.
All right, so now we're going to make some charm bracelets.
Yes, my favorite, maybe my favorite. Yes, I love charm bracelets. You can stack them up. You can stack them with any of these other bracelets that we've made today. And the first thing I want to show, though, is a way that I love to make head pins. I never seem to have enough head pins, and I never seem to have the head pins that are matching my project.
So you can make these totally custom.
So you can make these totally custom. And what I've done, or how I'm going to make them, is with 24 gauge wire. You can also use 22 gauge wire, and you can use any color to match whatever the design is that you're using.
Good idea.
So to make the knotted head pin, I'm going to start with about a 3-inch piece of wire. We always have scrap wire around in our workshop, so this is a perfect way to use up those pieces. So I like to use the very, very tip of my round nose pliers, and I'm going to turn that around in a coil. You don't want to make a spiral, but you want to make it in a coil.
Okay.
And I come around about 2 times. You could do 3 if you want, but I think 2 is kind of the sweet spot. And use your index finger to point that wire straight up. Now this is where I like to say the magic happens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to feed it back through that loop. And then I will take my nylon jaw pliers and put them right against that coil. And take my chain nose pliers and pull that coil so it tightens up in a little knot. And it also straightens the head pin.
Perfect. So your work
hardens, yep, work hardens it a little bit also. And if you need to come back through and just straighten it up a little bit, you can do that also.
Yeah, so just use your chain nose pliers. Perfect, you have a head pin.
Isn't that so fun?
That is fun.
So then what you do to finish your charm is take a bead. Again, bead soup, the theme of the day. And with your round nose pliers, I'm just going to do a really quick wrapped loop.
It's always fun to see how everybody does their wrapped loops.
I know, everybody does it differently.
So you're the double plier method. Now I know.
I am the double plier method, totally.
All right.
And the most important thing, I think, to making a really nice wrapped loop is just to come in here and tuck that little end in.
Okay, so how are we going to attach these to our bracelet?
All right, so to attach to the bracelet, we're going to use this braid wire and attach a clasp. So here I have my clasp already attached, and what I'm going to do to get it to here is use these wonderful cord ends.
Okay. Do you want your glue back?
I do not need my glue back quite yet.
Okay.
Because what I like to do first is attach the clasp to the cord ends, because I think it's easier to get the cord ends lined up the right way when you do it that way.
Okay.
So I'm going to come in here with my jump rings and use my 2 pliers again to open up the jump ring. I'm going to open up the jump ring and attach the clasp on this side. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. And I like to use a smaller jump ring to attach this clasp.
So a large one on one side, small on the other?
Yep, and you can vary that in any way that you want. You could use a magnet clasp here. You could make your own clasp like I did on this one.
That'd be fun too.
Yeah, again, it's all about the customization.
Well, and then you have this beautiful braid wire. This is 12 gauge, so it's thick, but it's easy to bend because it has that braided texture.
Yep, and it fits perfectly into these 2mm cord ends. So I will take my glue back now.
Okay.
Perfect.
Oops.
And so then with this glue, what you do again is just dab a little bit of glue in there and attach the wire. And this way, since you already have your clasp attached, you can go ahead and attach it here so that your cord ends will be facing the right way.
The right direction.
Yeah.
That's a really great tip.
So it takes the guesswork out of it.
And then you could go back and attach your charms with jump rings, right?
Absolutely. Yep. I would let this dry up again for about 24 hours. I might be overkill on my drying, but I like to just be doubly sure. And then you can go ahead and take a jump ring and just attach your charm.
Okay, well, let's take a look at your finished ones. These are beautiful. What a great idea. And it's quick and easy. These would make great gifts.
And again, I took some charms that I had in my bead soup stash, and I attached them up. There are a couple that would be wonderful for birthstone bracelets, or there's some tassel designs also.
All right, well, thanks so much, Meredith.